Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matt the Phone Guy here, and I have a little something something I got off of Amazon for like 72 bucks. It is the Cat S22 Flip. Um, it's interesting. The last couple weeks, I have been trying to downgrade as far as being on my phone all the time. Ironically, the name of this channel is Phone Guy, but either way, I find myself doom and death scrolling on YouTube and Instagram and all this stuff. So I said, hey, I saw some stuff on this phone. Let's try it out. Now, the cool part about this phone is, it's a flip phone. You can, get mad at somebody and be like, yeah, well, you know what? Cool. And that's great and all. It is running Android 11 Go. Now I messed with a Android Go phone about 2 years ago. I never made a video of it or anything. But it was different. It was on software that, or it was on hardware, I should say, that just even for Android Go couldn't run it, couldn't do solid on it. So the big thing about this one is, as far as specs go, this is running like a Qualcomm, I believe it's 215 processor from God knows how long ago. Like I said, it's running Android Go off of Android 11, based off of Android 11. For my security geeks out there who's security minded like I am, this thing has not had a software update since June of 2022. It is now July of 2024, shooting this video. So we are over 2 years out from a security update. It will not get any more updates. I'm telling you that right now. Which, the funny thing about that part is, and yes, this is a T-Mobile unlocked device. All right. So when it comes to the carriers, they have to do, Cat does their thing, and then it has to be approved by the carrier, and yada 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 yada. The issue with that is, it means if you get this phone or like style phones where it is a carrier unlocked device, so a Verizon unlocked phone, a T-Mobile unlocked phone, whatever, the updates are not going to go through T-Mobile anymore. So they're not. So Cat's like, well, they're supposed to go to T-Mobile. We don't run this phone through T-Mobile anymore. We done ran through it. The hell with it. We're done. So Cat's not gonna update this, because they can't update it per T-Mobile's policy. And T-Mobile's like, well, dude, it ain't even our phone really anymore. So why do we care? So there is no more updates for this. This thing is dead in the water. That being said, I have seen some videos on this phone, and it's actually not bad. All right, there are some qualms about it. And let me just preface this with, I used it for a week. Could I use it for a long time? Probably. My screen time is down tremendously, so that's a plus. But here's my issue. When I try to go into a banking app, or like, for example, I have the Walmart app on this bad boy, right? And I go to Walmart. I had the app on it, and I didn't sign in when I walked into the store. I was like, oh, well, let me sign in so I can check the price, because Walmart decided, hey, we don't want to have scanners and everything in our stores anymore. Lame. So now you got to do it through your phone. So I had to sign in to the Wi-Fi, which was a pain in the butt. Then I had to sign in to the app, which was also a pain in the butt. 10 minutes later, I finally got it to work. And then when I scanned the clearance thing I was looking at, it was regular price. So I was even more mad. I'm not going to lie. But like, when I go into my banking app, I have to slightly jump through hoops just to get into my banking app. When I do something on, like, I have Facebook right here. And by the way, this is a touchscreen, as you can see, touchscreen. When I go into Facebook, same thing. Like, it's a little slower. Again, 215 processor. I think it has either 1 or 2 gigs of RAM. Like, it's minute. It's hardly anything there. Definitely, if you get this, speaking of that kind of thing, it only has 16 gigs of onboard storage, which 4 of that is taken up by Android Go and other stuff. So you're going to have 12 gigs to work with. Now, I had a 64 gig card on here, and I was able to unload, like, I don't know. By the time I put my, what little apps I was going to use on here, it was like 3 gigs or something like that. But some of it stayed on onboard storage, which got me up to like 10.2 gigabytes used on top of the 4 that was already there. So I was literally had about 2 gigs to go before this thing decided it was going to crash. It only screwed up a couple times. That's good. The other thing that I've noticed with this, besides, some of the downsides, like I said, the update problem, some of the apps get a little buggy every now and then, is the battery on this thing. The battery on this thing is awful. Now, it's a 2000 milliamp hour battery, right? So it's not a bad little gig. Okay. And for the record, like I said, I'm actually going to be sending this back just because of the battery reasons, and the fact that, yes, I'm trying to downgrade and I'm trying to use less of my screen, but the apps that I absolutely need, like my banking app, my clocking in app for work, my credit card apps, my core stuff that I need to work properly, I just said the hell with it, and I went and got an iPhone SE. It's not bad. We can talk about that one later. Maybe in another video. But I went and got another iPhone SE and just said the hell with it. Okay. I downloaded less apps and I called it a day. But when it comes to this, like overall, I would call this a pretty decent option if you want to go dumb phone, if you want to go low ball phone, if you need a backup phone, or say you're going on vacation and you don't want to take your good phone. Say you got an iPhone 15 Pro Max with the thing completely decked out with a terabyte, and it costs you like $1,500, and you're paying a gazillion dollars in Apple Care, and you don't feel like messing with it and all this other stuff. Yeah, grab this. It's rugged. It's a solid phone. It's chunky. It's a brick. Call quality on it was kind of meh. So I called my son on this, and the speakerphone down here, it's not bad, but the earpiece sucks. So you're trying to do like a regular phone call, I could barely hear him. And that just was a problem that I had. And it didn't work out proper. So, I mean, running through the apps, running through everything, the interface itself is pretty decent. Android Go is not a bad thing. You can get light versions of things like Facebook Lite, Messenger Lite, all these other light things that is actually designed for this type of software. On most of the apps that I downloaded, I had to get the full. There was either get that one or not at all. Like my banking and credit card apps, my clock in app, like there is no light for that. Like you either have the app or you don't. And I need the app. I need things like that. Again, I'm trying to reduce my screen time. I'm trying to reduce, the app load that I have. Like my iPhone SE, it's a 64 gigger. I just had an iPhone 12 recently, 64. Every time I get an iPhone 11, about a year ago, I gave it to my daughter, 64 gigs. I don't have the need to have gigantic storage on my phones. It's just not my thing. I don't need it. I don't need to pay the extra money for it. There's no need. But I stick with that. Now, with that being said, yeah, I stuck a 64 gig in here. It had 12 actual usable gigs on the phone, and unfortunately, that wasn't enough. I mean, I was using 16 gig phones 10 years ago, probably more than that. And I was able to do what apps were smaller back then, and I could function and I could use it. It's not a big deal. But nowadays, it's not a thing. So like I said, there's a couple hiccups with this. The battery overheats like hell. I'm playing Pandora over here. Swipe up. Oh no, I don't have Pandora on here anymore because I took the damn SD card out. So I was like, for example, I had Spotify. I have standard Spotify, no pay or anything, just your free version, and it would not open on this phone. It would not. I tried to see if there was a Spotify Lite. There was, but it's not viable in the United States. You cannot get it in the United States. It has to be another country. So I said, let me do Pandora. Pandora, it got better, but then it got worse. They did an update like 2 days ago, and it screwed everything up. But when I downloaded it originally, if I closed the phone, it would play like 2 more songs, and then it would pause. And then after that, for a few days, it would play all the way through, closed, no problem, hook up to my car, fine, for my Bluetooth, everything was fine. And then the last 2 days, they did an update. I think, today's Friday, the 5th of July. So I want to say on Wednesday, they did an update on Pandora, and it made it awful again. So it sucks. Like I said, the overheating was an issue. I was listening to Pandora, and I just had it sitting in my car, right? Number one, the battery dropped like 10% on about a 15 to 20 minute drive home from work. Number one. Number two, it heated up like crazy. Like I could feel it on the back of here, like really bad. And I was like, dude, I don't like that, because that makes me worried that over time, number one, the battery will degrade quicker because of the heat on the battery. But number two, if something catastrophic happens, that bitch blows. Now it's done blown up in my hand, and it blew up in my car, whatever the case may be, and it becomes a massive danger. Now you can get that with any battery, but when it starts heating like that over time, it makes it more susceptible to damage, to degradation, and all this other stuff. So I'm like, no, I'm good. That's what kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back. I could make this phone usable. I could live off of this phone, but I can't do it with this stock, with this particular one. If they came out with another one that had the same kind of aspect on it, maybe the screen was slightly bigger, still touch screen, but maybe it had Android Go, Android 14 Go or Android 15 Go, maybe in like a year they'd come out with that or something. That would be fine. I feel like, and then you'd have the upgraded specs, updated processors. This is from 2021. They stopped pushing out updates June of 22. I mean, it barely got a year of updates or anything. Like that's a little much. So, overall, if someone just does their normal thing, they could probably live with this phone. Like I said, I could probably live with this phone, but not with the apps that I absolutely need. I've downgraded enough to where I need my core apps, and if I can't get them, then no. I've seen a lot of videos out there saying that this was a great device and everything, and I think it's a great device in its own right. It's definitely a usable device for the most part, but I can't do it. I just can't do it. Because of the issues I'm having with some of the apps. It's just not working, and the battery life is awful. I'm charging it. I'm barely using the thing, and I'm charging it 2 to 3 times a day plus an overnight charge. That's too much. That's to me, that's too dangerous on the battery. That's too dangerous on the device. And if I'm barely using it, it shouldn't be dropping too much either. And I even like turn Bluetooth off. Like right now I have it on because that's the last time I did it. But I would turn Bluetooth on and off. I've used maps one time, and I had location on and off. It wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, any way you look at it, it's a good option, but just know what you're getting into. Like I said, some of the videos I've seen, they were talking about all the positives. Oh, it's totally usable. This is fine. That's fine. Oh, the battery life could be great. It's not bad and everything. In my experience, it's not. It's borderline dangerous in my book. Plus the software updates are gone. They're non-existent. So if you don't have a lot of stuff on your end, it's fine. If you do, and you have a lot of personal stuff, a lot of other things, they are susceptible to getting hacked or getting stolen, more so with this than this. And I can sit here and I can use all of the apps that I need, and I have none of the ones I don't on this thing. So yes, digital minimalism is a thing. I am starting to get into that. I'm starting to see the benefits of it, and I think it's something that everybody could do and probably should do from time to time, if not period, to just get the hell out there and do something different than sitting here watching YouTube videos or scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours, wasting your life. I mean, go do something. So, anyway, with that said, if y'all guys got any questions specifically on this, like I said, I'm returning this over the weekend, so it's going to be gone. So, if y'all got any particular questions or anything like that, go ahead and let me know in the comments, and I will answer those the best of my abilities. And as always, again, I'm very sporadic with this channel, but when I do populate stuff and when I do something and you guys watch it, it does mean a lot to me. I do appreciate you guys watching. So again, any questions, concerns, comments, leave them down below, and I will see y'all on the next one.